In today's interior design video, I'm gonna share with you ideas on how to make a statement at your front door this spring. Keep watching. Hello. How are you doing today? I cannot believe it's another Sunday, which means a brand new video here at Ramon at home. And in this video, I'm gonna share with you 3 wreath DIYs for spring to make a statement on your front door. You guys, interior design really does start at the front door because it is the very first chance you get to make a statement. And in this video, I'm gonna share with you tips and ideas on how you can create a beautiful statement at your front door, something that is easy and affordable. So be sure to give this video a thumbs up because that really helps the channel. If you are interested, be sure to stay tuned. Don't forget to like the video and share with a friend. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. And if you are already subscribed, don't forget to turn the notification bell on because you will not want to miss what's next here at Ramon at home. We're just getting started. All right, let's get back to the studio and share with you guys idea number 1 from this compilation. All right, everyone, before I start making this beautiful wreath for our front door, I want to mention a few things, and those are the tools that I always use. Now, I want to point out, this is a hot glue pellet skillet that I purchased at a thrift store, but they do sell these skillets for hot glue pellets. And this is what the hot glue pellets look like. You put them in here, you turn it on, and then it'll melt them up for you. The other thing is this pick machine, and this what it does is puts a little steel pick on your stem so they can really latch on into the form right here. So you can find this at Shinoda Design Center or any place where they sell florist supplies. And these are the picks that are used for, let me see if I can do one right here. You go ahead and you fold it like this, and then it'll put this really cool steel pick. So all of these are tools for floristry, and I really do recommend. My wire cutters came from Home Depot or Lowe's, but quite a few years ago, so I don't know if they still have them available. So I'm gonna move my machine right here. Now all of the florals that I'm gonna use today, as you guys saw, they came from Shinoda Design Center. So I'm just gonna get started. So what I like to do when I have bushes like these rose foliages, I like to divide it in 3 because it's a lot of product and I like to do it all at once. Now I have a few wreath DIYs you guys can see. As you guys can see on the screen right now, the one that I did last year was so beautiful. It was really colorful. But this year I want to stay within all greens, whites, and creams. Very monochromatic, very fresh for this time of the year. I really do think that if you keep it more in the monochromatic, you can carry it all the way from spring through summer. So on this particular instance, if I wanted to, I could add some apples or some limes to it and make it look fresher, which we might in the future. But as you guys can see, I cut all of the stems, and instead of having just a few stems, you have quite a few out of them. So once again, you get your pick machine right here, and then you pick your stem. You go ahead and dip this into your glue. Now, if you guys been following this channel, you know that what goes up must come down. So if you're gonna go ahead and add a stem right there, then we immediately have to go ahead and do one on the bottom. And I just go ahead and pick my stem right here. Let me get rid of my lacy Susan because it's really getting on my way. There you go. You kind of have to have some grip. Then you dip this into your glue right here, and then it goes down. Now keep in mind that when you're making a wreath, you have to go on a clock motion all the time. It doesn't matter what flower or foliage you are inserting, you have to go on that motion. So I'm gonna go ahead and add one here on the side. And remember, what goes up must come down. What happens on the left happens on the right. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab yet another one right here. I'm gonna add a pick, dip it into my glue, and be generous. This glue is really meant to be on the outside. It's really gonna hold out to the weather, whether it's snowing for the holidays or it is hot during the summer. It's meant, was fabricated to stand up and hold on to the weather. So I'm gonna go ahead and add one right here. And take note that I am inserting one stem at a time, and it's all going the same way. Now, the other thing that I like to do is that I like to add one foliage and one flower at a time. So this particular occasion, we have about 5 to 7 flowers that we're going to add all in white and green. However, I am going to add one foliage at a time. So as you guys can see, I'm just adding this going clock motion. I'm gonna speed it up and I'll be right back to add the next step. Keep watching. All right, as you guys can see, I finished adding all of the rose foliage on my wreath going all clock motion, but there's still a lot of dead space to it. And for me, there's nothing better to fill in that space than boxwood. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna cut them all at once because I am going to go ahead and add all of them. So I have two types of boxwood that I got from Shinoda, and I'm gonna go ahead and use all of this product right here. Now to fill in these ones, I like to do sets of twos because it'll fill in my space better. So as you guys can see, I just added two, and then I like to get my bend to kind of fluff them. I'm gonna dip into my glue right here, very generous, always be generous, and we're gonna start over adding closer to the form. And as you guys can see, that's helping me fill in. Now remember, what goes up must come down, and what happens on the left happens on the right. And that is a rule that I just literally came up with when I was learning floristry, to kind of remember, to help me remember the rules of how to balance. So that's more like to have a balance end result. So I'm gonna continue to add these two, but sets of two, and just giving it a little twist or a bend. And I'm gonna go ahead and fill in all the spots. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I want to point out real quick, this is a fact that you guys have to check every time that you're making a wreath. See how I'm closer to here? If I was to step away from it, you're gonna see this dead space right here, like it hasn't been worked on. And that's because we tend to go like this into a wreath. Well, we forget this zone right here. So always, always, always go back and check your arm zone. That's what I call my arm zone, so to fill in and to make it look just as full as the rest of the wreath, because you don't want it to be empty spaces. All right, so I have just a few more that I'm going to add right here, these two boxwoods. I think I have one more. And as you guys can see, it really is filling in. I love boxwood because it has that really thick and really sturdy feel to it. So I'm gonna add one right here. And what I like about adding the pick is because, as you guys can see, it just helps to really hang on to the wreath form. It is an investment. If you want to know how much they are, just call our friends at Shinoda and ask how much they are. But as you guys can see, it's filling in. Now, the other thing I have that I am absolutely in love with, it's this beautiful fern, and look how dainty and how dangly this is. How fun is that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate it into bigger chunks. And the beauty about these particular stems is that you can always just play with it. Like I'm gonna add all of this together. So I'm just gonna cut right there, and I'm gonna pick all of this together to kind of make different bundles. And as you guys can see, it has wires. You can just go ahead and dip into your glue. Be generous with it. And I'm gonna add right here to my wreath form. And you see what that does? It just gives it that dangly. And what I like about this, like I said, look, it comes in different stems. So you basically just rip them apart. You cut these two short, and then you pick them together to create your own stem. Like this. So now you have a set of three. So I'm gonna go right here. I'm gonna move over to this side, being generous with my glue. Now the glue is really not that expensive. I think it's like 11 bucks for a whole little bag of it, which I think it's really affordable. Because if you were to buy glue sticks, well, first of all, they're not weatherproofed, so they're gonna really fall apart outside. But this glue, actually, this pellet glue has actual glue to where the silicone sticks is just silicone. All right, so I have one more of these. Look how cute that is. I also love how dangly that came out. it is all about the texture, you guys. When you are making floral arrangements, floral wreaths, it really is all about the texture. I want to take a second real quick to invite you guys to come and join me on my Instagram for daily Insta stories, behind the scenes, and all the things that you don't get to see here on my YouTube channel, like shopping trips and all of the really fun stuff that it just does not go on YouTube. So all of the links to my social media are going to be down below. Let's get back to the video. All right, everyone, so these are some of the flowers that I selected for this wreath. I'm gonna go ahead and put them down, make sure that I don't lose my wire cutters because I need those. So I've selected some of these really pretty cream hydrangea, and I have 3, 4, 5, 6. I got a selection of garden roses in cream and white, and then also I got some really beautiful white cabbage roses, and what really is going to make it pop is going to be this really pretty viburnum, which is the very first thing that I'm going to start with. What I want you to do and want you to think is that viburnum really does grow really wild. I remember when I lived in Kansas, we used to have a viburnum bush, so you really have to like touch every head. We want it to be a little wild and fun. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this viburnum, and I'm going to go ahead and add a pick so it really hangs on to my wreath form. And remember, it has to be really wild looking. So to give it more character, just go ahead and bend it every way you want. And this also is gonna help us to elongate the shape of our wreath. So I'm gonna start always on the top, but remember what happens on the top has to happen on the bottom. And I just really recommend to go ahead and give them a little bend. All right, so I want to recommend, if you guys have not seen the beautiful lemon wreath that I did last year, I really recommend you watch that one next. I'm gonna link it up right here right now, and it was so much fun. It was yellows and whites and creams with a lot of lemons. It was just so cute. So if you like wreath ideas, I really do think that you would enjoy that particular one. And I just want to show you something real quick. This is what this comes out of, looking out of the box, with no flower grows like that. So like I said, just go ahead and give the heads a little bend, because that's more like it. So I want this viburnum to really elongate the shape of my wreath. I'm gonna start with 4. So I'm gonna go my 4 corners like that, and I'm gonna add one more right here. I got 10 of them, so I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that I add other flowers first to make sure that I have plenty to go around. And remember to always fluff as you go. All right, so this is going to be the last viburnum that I add. And I'm gonna add it right here, being really generous with my glue. And go on the shape of the clock. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure they go on the form like that. And see how that has viburnum all the way around. Like I said, I'm gonna save some of them to add at the end. The next thing I wanna add is gonna be the hydrangea. So I'm gonna get some of these hydrangea. Now, these are really thick on the stem. Let me see how easy they are. Oh, they're actually really easy to cut. These ones don't need the pick because they're pretty thick right here. And with hydrangea, when you're using hydrangea on any wreath, I really recommend that you use it as close as you can to the form to start to fill in some of those blank spots. As you guys can see, I'm gonna use 6. And I'm super excited about the lilies because I love lilies on a wreath. I have some lilies and I have some other green flowers. As you guys can see, just push it into the form, let it stand right here. I'm gonna add all of them going clock motion. Some of these suckers are really hard to play with, and then just go ahead and give it a little bend like this. And I'm gonna go ahead right here and just insert and push it in. I have one more. Okay, I'm gonna cut them all at once. So this will really just make my job easier. I love these wire cutters because they really go into that wire and cut like butter, but some of these flowers, I don't know why they put such a thick stem. Is that all I have here? All right, so give it a little bend right here. I'm gonna dip this into my glue. I'm gonna open up right here. And at this point, what you want to do is cover some of these spots by adding a thicker flower like this hydrangea. I'm gonna add one right here. I feel like it needs a hydrangea right here. So go ahead and dip into your glue, find the spot and just push it in. Look at that. How pretty is that? All right, let me see. I think I'm gonna put one right here. Hydrangea is one of my favorite flowers. So leave me a comment below in the comment section below and let me know what is your favorite flower to decorate with, or if you'd like to have fresh flowers in your home, which one is your favorite. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna add is some of these cabbage roses, and I also want them, remember, the bigger the head of the flower, the closer it has to go into the wreath form, because if you were to do fresh flowers, it would not hold the weight, you know, up here, the stem, let me cut it real quick. The stem wouldn't hold the weight up here because it would be heavy on the head and it would just break. These ones I do need to pick, and so what I'm going to do to save myself some time, look how fast this is, you guys. If I was doing this at work, I could literally get like 10 wreaths done in one day because you just prep, it's all prep work. Oops, I forgot to cut this one. I'm gonna cut this stem right here. And then you clean at the end, because if you guys could just see the mess I have right here on by my feet, it's crazy. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and dip these guys into my glue, being generous, and then look for a spot right here, remember, closer to the form. So I have 5. I'm gonna do one right here, and always going in the same direction. I'm never gonna get tired as long as I continue to make videos for YouTube about floral design. I will continue to repeat the instructions because that's how I learned how to do flowers, just by repeating myself. What happens on the left happens on the right, Ramon, and what goes up must come down. Look how pretty that looks. Then I'm gonna add one right here on the bottom because you want them to go balanced. And remember that adding just one flower at a time really does help with your balance. All right, so I'm gonna add one right here. Sometimes you just have to move the foliage to insert your flower. Look how pretty that is. Oh my goodness. All right, so then I have some of these rose bundles. This is kind of like a garden rose that I think is so cute. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut all of them. And you wanna leave all of the foliage on them. So I'm gonna make sure that I cut right under the foliage, so we can use some of that foliage also to cover some of the spots. I have 2 different kinds. I have a cream one and I have a white one. So cutting both of them, and also make sure that you get rid of all these pesky tags. I cannot wait to show you guys what this is going to look like. I don't even know what it's going to look like, but if it's going to look like anything like how I imagine it to be, it's going to be really pretty, because this spring season I'm doing all whites and creams inside the house, and I just love how fresh, you know, after the holidays, there's nothing like just like a feeling of airiness in the home. And so that's what I want this spring season for my home. Leave me a comment down below and let me know what is your spring color. What have you picked for your spring colors? All right, so I'm gonna take a second now to pick all of them. You guys will see how fast we're gonna get to do this. When you pick your stems, make sure that you separate them by style, because I really recommend, like I said earlier, to just insert one style at a time for balance. I really love reading your comments. So leave me a comment, let me know, what have you learned here, Ramon, at home? Are you guys enjoying this season after the holidays? You know, I didn't know what we were gonna do, but I just thought that if I show you guys how to create beautiful things for your home on a budget, to show you that, you know, sometimes we can save in certain items around the house to be able to splurge in other ones. This is more of a splurge, but I know this wreath will carry me all the way through summer. Like I said, later on I'm gonna add some apples and other things. All right, so now I'm gonna separate these guys. I have another tag right here. My goodness. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and add these guys, and as you guys can see, these are a little longer than the cabbage roses, so I want them to fly further away from my form, like this, like that. And remember to always just add one style at a time. Be sure to grab onto the foliages so they don't go in the glue. I'm gonna add this guy right here. Look how pretty that is. Okay, I'm gonna add one right here. It's all about the balance, you guys. All about the balance. Look at that. How pretty is that? This also would be really pretty for a wedding. I love white and green. It's my favorite combination when I do flowers for weddings. I always just recommend this color combination because it's fresh, it's clean looking. All right, so I'm gonna add one right here. Give it a little bend. Dip into my glue. Just add right here, like that. So I'm gonna proceed to these longer ones too. And what I like about these ones, because they really have a thicker wire that I can go in there and use. So I'm gonna add one here coming down, like that. And I'm gonna add one right here. Just let your eye dictate where the flower wants to live. Like this. Perfect. I want it to be a little bit more wild because it does have some of these wild roses. So I want it to be a little bit more disheveled, because to me also that's really pretty when you have a wilder look. If you have wild roses and garden roses, then I think like it needs to be a little bit more on this path than like very constructed. If you have bigger flowers like this right here, then you do want to group them together because they make more of an impact when they're grouped together. But when you have roses like this right here, you do want them to be a little bit on the wilder side. All right, so I'm gonna add one right here coming down. Right here. Like that. How pretty is this looking? So far, so good. Let me see, what else do I have? I'm gonna add a few more of these viburnums. I feel like I need one coming out right here. I'm gonna get ready to get the lilies and the rest of the flowers, and I'll be right back. Keep watching. All right, you guys, so the last two flowers that I have that I'm going to add are some of my favorite flowers, which is this Casablanca lily and the little buds. Now, Casablanca lilies and hydrangea is perhaps my favorite combination that I love in my house and that I love to play with. However, when you do fresh flowers, you always cut the pollen out because your flower looks cleaner that way. And then also because in real life, this pollen will stain anything that it touches, anything on its path. I remember we actually, what we do to pull this fresh is like we go like this and we pull it. Well, by the end of the day, your hands are just absolutely torn and all dyed, and it's just everything, like everything that is on its path that it touches. Plus, look how pretty it looks when you cut that out. It just looks cleaner. The flower looks cleaner, and that's why you do it in the world of floristry. You always clean this pollen out. All right, so I have these beautiful Casablancas, and I also have this really pretty dainty flower that I'm gonna use as an accent, but I'm gonna start with the Casablanca. I'm gonna go ahead and cut short like that, and then I'm gonna go ahead and fluff it, make sure the dot bud shows. Oh, I'm gonna add a pick. And look what this is going to do. To me, there is nothing more elegant than this beautiful Casablanca. Check this out. Oh my goodness, that is so pretty. I just love them. And they smell so good in real life. If you were to get fresh Casablancas, it is my favorite flower in the world. So I'm gonna add one right here. And just let it hang out further than any other flower. This is kind of like your showstopper. So you want it to be as far out as you can. And you want it to be at the end of any floral arrangement. This is the flower that you want to wait till the end to add. I'm gonna add one right here. So open up all of your foliages. Just insert your Casablanca. Like this, and look at that, it just sits on top of everything else, and it is so beautiful and elegant. I think I'm gonna add 5 of this beautiful flower. I cannot wait to read your comments and know what flower is your favorite. I know we all have different tastes. Hydrangea being my favorite. I know a lot of people do not love hydrangea like I do, but I know a lot of people that love hydrangea. I know a lot of people that love roses. To me, roses are pretty, but not as gorgeous as look what that does. It's just not as elegant to me as other flowers there are. But you know what they said, we all have different taste. So, all right, let me see. I'm gonna add one. Oh, that is so pretty. So pretty. All right, I'm gonna add one right here along with this one. Sometimes it's good if you have like sets, you know. Sometimes I like to work in sets of 3s, 2s, and 1s. So like right here, I'm just gonna go ahead and add this other one like that, and adding a set of 2. And I feel like we need one right here. So I'm gonna add this. So pretty. You want it to be a little thicker on the top because that's the top. Let me see, I feel like we need one right here with this hydrangea. So I'm getting some of my glue. Gonna add it right here. Oh my gosh, look how pretty that is. And I'm gonna add the last one here with this group of flowers. Wouldn't this be perfect for a wedding? I think it would be so gorgeous. All right, so I'm gonna add this one right here with this hydrangea group. Look how pretty it just sits on top of everything else. All right, so the last thing I'm gonna add is going to be this dainty flower, and I'm just gonna add it popping out, going in a clock motion. I'll be right back with you and show you the end result. Keep watching. Now, wasn't that just absolutely gorgeous? As you guys know, one of my favorite flower combinations is green and white. It is neutral, it is monochromatic, and it goes well on your front door, on a centerpiece, on your coffee table. It doesn't matter where you put it. So if you are going for a monochromatic or more of a neutral look, I really do recommend this beautiful combination. But now I'm gonna share with you a very colorful combination that is going to make a statement on your front door. Keep watching. All right, so for this project, what we're going to use is one of these really cute baskets that I got from the 99-cent only store. And I think they are sister companies with Dollar General. It was $2.99, but don't quote me on it. So if you do have a 99-cent store only, that's where you can find it. They're super affordable. I'm gonna use one block of florist foam that is cut in half, and I just went ahead and pushed it in there. I'm also gonna use some green moss that you guys know I'm crazy about, and you can find this at Walmart. I'm gonna use some really pretty purple lilac from the Walmart store, or as I like to call it, Wally World, because I think we're friends. And then I'm gonna use some of these orange ranunculus. I'm gonna use a bundle of Fox Hollow, also from Walmart. Some of these really pretty peach ranunculus and 5 irises. That's also one bundle. For my greenery, I'm gonna use some palm that I had already laying around. Also some of these eucalyptus that I also have, but I know this is from Walmart and they have it right now. And then I have some extra greenery with a touch of fuchsia, so just give it a little punch. And then I'm gonna use about a yard of this black and white striped ribbon that I think is gonna give it a really modern feel to it. And this is from Shinoda Design Center. All right, so the very first thing I'm going to do, now that I have my door piece right here, I'm gonna grab some of this moss and I'm gonna cover my mechanics just by tucking it in like this. And you don't need much. And also I always encourage you to just let it hang out because moss grows kind of wild like that. And I really just like the punch of green right here. And I'm gonna save some of it for the end to show you guys a little trick. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm gonna use some of this palm and I'm gonna go ahead and put one right here, and that's gonna give us some height into our door. I'm gonna use another one coming down right here. Remember, what goes up must come down. And I am talking to you guys when I do floral design about the triangle. So if you only have 3 pieces, make sure that you use it on a triangle like this. All right, to fill in, I'm gonna bring some of this pretty eucalyptus. And if you've been following the channel, then you know that I like to use as many as 3 types of greenery because it makes your arrangement look more natural. So I'm gonna do one on this left. What happens on the right has to happen right here on the left, and that's gonna help us with the width, and then we're gonna bring one down right here on the front. Now don't put it straight forward, just go ahead and give it another bend. See how this one curves like this? Give this another bend and just make it curve the opposite way, and that's gonna give you balance into your arrangement. All right, so the first flower I'm going to add is going to be some of this lilac because it is the tallest. So I wanna see how high I can make my arrangement look. So what happens on the left, happens on the right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do this corner right here, and what happens on the right has to happen on the left. Then we're gonna go ahead and give it a bend down so it spills forward, and I'm gonna go ahead and push it right here, and then I'm gonna do one more going the opposite way, and see how we have it all the way around. Then I have one last one right here. I'm gonna put right here in the middle. So see how that gave it a balance, and it is all over the perimeter of your arrangement. So now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna bring some of this ranunculus, and I'm gonna go ahead and grab it right here so it doesn't move. I'm gonna add one right here. So I'm gonna do 2 on this side. Remember that I like to work in sets of 3s, 2s, and 1s. And those are just rules that I made up when I was learning floristry to remind myself. So that way the bouquets were always balanced. I'm gonna do one here. I'm gonna do the second one right here, and I'm gonna do a third one over here. So now we have that orange all over the place. So now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna fill in with some of this greenery with the fuchsia. And I told you guys, this is gonna be super simple. And look what this does, it starts to cover that foam, and then also adds that little punch of fuchsia and that greenery. It's just so pretty. All right, so I'm gonna add one right here and one right here. Oh, I love the sound of foam. I love it. Some of you guys think I'm crazy, but all right, so I have this right here from Walmart. So I'm gonna add one right here to accent, and I'm gonna go over on this side as well. Then I have some of these irises, and because I did 3 on this side and 2 on one side, so what I'm going to do now is I'm gonna do the opposite. I'm gonna do one right here, and then I'm gonna go down over on this side, and make sure you have to go through the moss sometimes, so just make sure you wiggle it because it has to go into the foam. And then I'm gonna do 3 on this side, so I'm gonna add one right here on the top, 2, and always playing with that triangle. So the next I'm gonna put over here on this side. All right, so the last flower I have is going to be this fox hollow, and this is what I call your flyaways. What really sticks out and makes it more daintier, and I just also love fox hollow, whether it's fresh or silk, because look what this does. It just comes out of your bouquet, and it gives it that extra beautiful oomph that you need into your floral. And this is to go with our centerpiece that I show you guys how to make. If you have not seen the matching centerpiece for this, I'm gonna link it up right here and also in the description box below, so you guys can see, because I like to have a cohesive look going all throughout the home. So that way you buy flowers in bulk because you might have a few projects. Okay, so what happens on the right happens on the left. And the easiest way to always remember this is if I'm going to do one up here, and I have to immediately move to the other side and do the exact same thing. So that way it's always balanced. I have a few short ones that I'm just gonna go ahead and use as filler right here, right here. Look how cute this turned out. And as you guys can see, it literally takes a few minutes. It doesn't really take that long. I have a few leftover flowers, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just poke them here somewhere, because at this point it's already balanced, so you can just add some flowers. So now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna do a bow real quick, and I want those tails to be probably as long as my basket right here. I was about to say banister. So I want a really simple bow, so I'm just gonna do like maybe a 2-loop bow, maybe a 3. And there's nothing wrong with doing a 3-loop bow, you guys. A lot of people is like, oh, why 3? Well, just because, why not? So I'm gonna cut my ribbon right here. Then I'm gonna show you a quick trick. I'm gonna bring out one of my wires. This is about a 16 gauge wire from my wire box. And then I'm gonna have a stem that I have from the florals earlier. I'm gonna cut this a little shorter, but right here. Then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab my wire and I'm gonna tie my bow with this wire right here, right? Then I'm gonna grab this stem and I'm gonna put it right here in the middle of my bow, and I'm gonna really tightly just go ahead and swirl it around, and then you grab the rest of your wire and then just go like chunk, like this, and that'll give you a stem to poke your little bow to the foam. All right, check this out. So I want it to be put right here on the side. I'm gonna go ahead, I might just have to readjust some of these flowers. I'm just gonna go ahead and poke this bow right here. Look how cute this is, you guys. Super simple, super affordable, and this black and white ribbon with all of these colors just looks so gorgeous put together. But never, 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 never forget to dovetail your ribbons, because if I come to your house and they're not dovetail, I'm gonna ask you for a pair of scissors. All right, so I'm gonna cut this one right here. Oh my goodness, that is the worst dovetail I've ever done in my life. All right, there you go. Like this. I'm gonna cut this a little shorter just so they staggered perfectly. Perfect. Look at this. How cute is this? I'm gonna put it on my door and show you what it looks like, so keep watching. All right, so this is what this particular door hanger looks like on my door, and I just absolutely love the detail of the black and white ribbon with all of these beautiful spring florals. And as you guys can see, I also covered the wreath hanger with the same ribbon to just give it a more polished look, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Cute, affordable, and colorful are three of my favorite things to put on the front door, and this little basket was really just that. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up because it really helps the channel, and now we're gonna head back to the studio for idea number 3. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna start dipping my stems into the glue, and I'm gonna start greening this area right here. And as I mentioned to you before, and if you've been following this channel, remember that the easiest way to balance any floral, any wreath is what happens up must come down, and what happens on the left happens on the right. And what I like about this pick machine is because, like I told you earlier, it does have those cute little teeth that it really latches to your wreath form. And I'm going to go ahead and right here. I want it to be really thick, so what I'm going to do first is I'm gonna go in the inside first. And what I mean on the inside is just right here until I can find a place where I think I should stop. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to head out. Like that, I think that's a good spot to stop. And always using your pick machine. I'm gonna get it closer to me. If you are making this to sell, I know a lot of you are making this to sell or to give away to family members, then I really do recommend to invest, because that way, if you make it properly, it's going to last a lot longer. So as you guys can see, I just have a row right here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the outside first and give it a little bend. Don't be afraid to bend those stems because they're just made out of wire. When you are a florist, you are a little bit more concerned when there are fresh flowers because, well, you don't want to bruise the stem, you don't want to break the stem, because every single stem costs money in the fresh world. However, when they're made out of silk, well, I can always bend them. And as you guys can see, it's getting a lot thicker, and I want that because I want to be very substantial so people can see it on your door from far away. That's how you know it's a good wreath, when people can really see that wreath, doesn't matter the size, from far away. And a lot of you ask me, Ramon, where did you learn how to make wreaths like that? Well, I've been working as a florist. If you are new to the channel, you probably don't know, but I've been working as a floral designer and florist for over 12 years, now going in 13. And I just love doing this kind of work. I love working with flowers. I love designing. It just gives me my juice. And what I also love is teaching, because I feel like everything that you learn, it should be taught to somebody else, and I just love teaching everything that I've learned so far. Now keep in mind that I want to leave a few of them, of each, towards the end, because we might have to fill in. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna add this one right here on the top, And then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna bring this lamb's ear because it's going to be the bulkiest. So I'm going to cut right here. I'm gonna add a pick, and that pick is going to substitute the rest of the stem. And the shorter you cut your stem, the closer it goes to the form, as you can see right there. So I'm going to add 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. But remember, what goes up must come down. So I added 1 on the top. I'm going to include 1 right here on the bottom. And don't be afraid to add some glue. Remember, this glue is weatherproof. So I'm going to go ahead and add yet another one of these lamb's ear. And this is more like a farmhouse style wreath. This foliage is used more on the farmhouse style than anything else. And so I'm gonna go ahead and come all the way out here. And sometimes it gets tight, but the glue is going to really hang onto the form. Okay, so now that we have our beautiful burlap ribbon right here and our greenery all in place, it is time to start adding the flowers. And for that, I'm gonna start with these beautiful cabbage roses. So I'm going to measure right about here, and I'm going to put a steel pick on it because remember that the steel pick is what's gonna help it latch into the form. So I'm gonna pull my bow on this side right here. I'm just gonna go ahead and add it. I'm gonna grab another one, and remember, what goes up must come down. Always, always, always the best way to balance any floral, if you keep that in mind. So I have 1 up, 1 down. And what I want to do is I'm gonna do a set of 2 up here, and then I'm gonna skip, and I'll show you what I mean by skip. So add 2 together, so they look like they kinda grew together like that. Then I'm going to skip 1 right here, and I'm gonna add 1 right here. Remember, we do have other flowers, and it is all about the balancing act of adding flowers, so like that. So there's a set of 3, and then I'm going to add another one down here to do 1. Remember, I like to work with sets of 3s, 2s, and 1. So 2 plus 1, 3, and then I'm gonna add 1 right here to add a set of 2, not without first dipping into my glue. All right, so that's 3 and 2 on the bottom. So then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab some of these really pretty white ranuncula, and I'm gonna add a pick to it. And I'm going to add 2 down here to make a set of 3. And it's always about doing that math, you guys. So I'm gonna add 1 right there. Then I'm gonna grab another one, and I'm gonna put a pick on it. Remember, the shorter you cut the stem, the closer it goes into the form. And in this particular style of wreaths, we do need it to be closer to the form. So we're going to cut as short as we can, and that's 3, as you guys can see. And I have 1 left that I'm going to add. So now we have a set of 3. I'm gonna add this one right here in the middle to kind of bring the white up. So remember to cut it short, and remember to always bend that stem because that's how flowers grow. They usually don't grow on like really straight up stems like that. And look how pretty that is. That is really cute. So now the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of these really pretty ranunculus. And what I like about these ranunculus, because it comes in sets of 3s, 2s, and 1s already. So all I have to do is put a pick on it like this. And I'm probably gonna put 1 right here to blend in all of the colors together. This ranuncula has some orange and some white, which is perfect combination for these florals. Look at that, how pretty is that? Just gorgeous. Then I'm going to add yet another one right here with 2. And now without first dipping into my glue like that. And then I'm gonna bring 1 in here in the middle, a bigger one, but I have to cut it shorter so it goes closer to the form. Thumbs up if you guys like this combination. I really hope that inspires you to create your very own summer wreath. And if you are making them to sell, well, congratulations. You know, starting your own business sometimes can be daunting, but only those who risk can reap the benefits. So congratulations. I'm gonna add one here to the end. How pretty! I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Then what's really gonna kick it off is going to be this really pretty white lilac. And if you guys been following the channel, you know I am obsessed with this white lilac, or the flyaway is what I call, because it really adds, as you guys will see, that extra daintiness to your wreaths and your floral bouquets. I have a few more to add. Remember to always give them a little bend. I'm gonna add one right here. Like this. Look at that. Then I'm gonna go back here or up here. Now without adding the pick. Right here. And as you guys can see, it really fills in all of the shape of this wreath. I'm gonna add one right here to kind of end cap it right here. Then I'm gonna go back down here and add some in between flowers. It's all about the balance, you guys. I will never get tired of telling you, it's all about the balance. If you can balance your flowers, you always have absolutely gorgeous wreaths, because it is all about the balance. All right, you guys, well, that's all I have for today, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, because it really helps the channel. Be sure to share it with your friends, and if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, because you will not want to miss what's next here on my YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. Consider subscribing. You can watch more videos right now. Until next time, bye.